Okay, live. It says you're live. I didn't bother to record an episode last week because I didn't feel like I had enough stuff, although I was going to go through the other old document and see if there was stuff I missed, and then I didn't. Maybe I'll try and scroll some of that at the end of this if it doesn't go too long. But of course, every episode I say it's going to be shorter. That blows up in my face more than half the time. So we'll see how long. This time, again, I have 22-page document, but the beginning here, at least the first page, I'm not going to do now because it's about the new Alex Grace video, which is a separate topic that I would like to discuss, but not right now. So look for that video in the near future, maybe in the episode 9, maybe something else. I don't know. But it's about dating in the 50s, and we're not talking about that right now. And what we are, but I did have my comments relating to some of the topics that Tinder gal, as I've began to call her, also touches on, but again, not overtly related directly here today. So the premise, of course, of all this is the boycott Tinder thing, although these more recent episodes have been a bit more tangential. Again, the company will say, well, that's their personal opinion and what they do on their own time and blah, blah, blah. But I still think, still think that the mindset directly relates to the implicit bias in the company. So where all others have the why can't I talk? I don't know. Matt Walsh and Alex Grace and some others have already talked about, and even Tom Shalhoub last week on TV talking about the hookup apps being, toxic in nature in different ways, primarily in potentially consumer fraud ways, which, again, I can't get into that. I don't know those facts except for what I've seen them express. And I'm not a class action lawyer and yada, yada, yada. I try to cover all this at the beginning every time. Just, I don't know if this is entertainment or educational purposes, whatever. But this one, as a prime representative of the type of feminist arguments that you get that are usually pretty easily debunked, and we'll get to that pretty soon. So this is a little awkward beginning here because, like I said, I skipped it last week when some of this would have been more fresh in my mind, so I'm trying to read it and remember what I was thinking when I jotted down some of these notes. Compare some sleaze bag dudes as they had so some men have said gross things to her, I guess, although she says plenty of gross things. We'll get into that too, where she should really not have a lot of class, even though presents themselves as being this pure victim all the time. They play the victim, but it's a lie. She looks sweet and innocent, but in reality has actually slept with more guys than like the entire cast of a Broadway play, perhaps, or a musical, and women too, according to her own interviews and things that aren't directly in this comment stream program, whatever. Let's see. So it makes fun of. Oh yeah, see that's for the next episode. So yeah, I want to skip that. That's not here. But she was giving somebody dating advice on one day, and I guess it was a younger man, and he came back and just said, "Shut up, old lady." In her eyes, she's not young, or sorry, not old. She still thinks she's younger than she is, or whatever, and not really a lady either. But then one thing she had said, she had jokingly called herself uneffable, but that's the wrong word. It was undateable would be the correct word. Nobody said you couldn't find men who would be willing to go there. That was covered back in episode 2 or something. So I feel like I'm kind of recovering some old stuff here. A whole section of the movie Clerks brought to you by, oh, I forgot to do the thing. I'll do that in a minute. Brought to you by the number 37 and the letters B and J. Haha, that was my own little joke. Oh, I was supposed to start it like the radio show where they start coming to you live from a baseball diamond in Riverside. That was today's. I'm doing everything haphazard today, I guess. Again, we're unscripted, folks. We're just going. Okay. But yeah, so any self-respecting man would be disgusted by a high body count, a run like she had allegedly in her 20s or whatever, even though she insists that they're not supposed to think it matters to them because claims it doesn't matter to her. I was like, no, that's not how it works. They determine whether or not they think you sound like a slurry woman, or ostensibly worthless, overhyped garbage, like pretty much everything that comes out of Hollywood now, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, in the movie Clerks, they said, oh, but she may have had 37, but she still brings you lasagna. It's like, okay, well, how often does this one bring you lasagna? I don't know. That's speculation and all that. We don't have dates and photos for her entire history. We only have these words. So basically, just where it's contradictory and hypocritical is, kind of where we're coming from here. There was a clip posted that worried that marrying a man she likes might lead to voting the same too. Hey, if you want to be lonely and a loser and alone, nobody's stopping you. If that's when you're afraid of marriage is, brainwashing. Again, this goes better with the next Alex Grace thing than where we're going up here. But, are any lining up to fix your brain and, keep you from, self-harm? Or are there just men that you keep finding that still want to, F you when they're lonely and bored too? So far, so good. That's what you're getting the men you deserve, it sounds like. And then there was some bit about voting. The GOP already wrote off California 3 decades ago, and Trump still won all 7 swing states. So factor that argument in as well. Obviously, women are not voting the way you think they should, whether they're married in these, patriarchy relationships or not. Skipping that. Okay. This is more about politics. We don't want to go into this at all. Okay. I was going to mention in a couple of, I forget if I mentioned it in the last video, but I've been basically registered as an independent voter, which in California makes me a Republican. So whatever. Like I said, I don't really get into politics on this channel much. Not really trying to do that now either. But it does tie in a lot with their posts. So let's see. Then there was a fear that men go out for cigarettes. Oh, this was from the previous video about divorce. Is it episode 6? Not 7. I think it was 6. But didn't get included somehow. But they were saying, women initiate most of the divorces. So her thing was that men go out for cigarettes and never come back is her big fear. Well, that wasn't the case with her husband. She couldn't get rid of the guy, according to her endless rants 15 years later. So you're worried about a hypothetical situation that hasn't actually happened to you on behalf of all those other poor women, right? Okay, whatever. Then there was a bit about the mom and the dad's divorce where she was really throwing the mom under the bus. I'm pretty sure your dad had something to do with that relationship ending too. As much as you want to, unlike most of the other daddy's issues, gals, build him up and tear her down. In this case, you might have missed the mark slightly with your, again, implicit bias or whatever. Okay, so we're skipping that. But yeah, a narcissist who's just smart enough to make themselves look stupid is today's theme. Overhyped hack. I was going to talk about screenwriting and again a different episode more than this. I had done a recent video. I'll hype my own video, episode number 40. Sorry. It's in the other playlist, so it's not in this play. It's episode 30 in the screenwriting playlist about The Devil Wears Prada. So you can check that out. I think I'm pretty insightful for 20 minutes there, all about a woman's girl chick flick. And then, of course, I did a longer one about Harry and Sally a year ago, and I don't have that number right in front of me here. Let's see, playlists. Which playlist was that in movies? Practical movies. Yes. If you go to episode 28, is a 30-minute video, which is not really that long in terms of talking about movies and junk, but it still didn't get as many views as I would like. I had like 80 people click on it for like 10 seconds. You're not going to get the gist of it in 10 seconds. And there's a lot to read down at the bottom. So I know that's prohibitive to some people to actually have to read, but it's all an essay that I wrote a long time ago, retyped or reprinted. So at some point on a Friday night, I think they were bored and stuck in traffic in their car or something. And so this got bumped up because there was a whole bunch of stuff before this. And then this is a long chunk that made this document super long. So how far do I get down? I mean, we're literally talking 12 pages. Yeah, more than 12 pages now of this endless argument. So the previous, so I'll get into that in a minute. I want to skip ahead briefly to same night earlier. There was the gal that I mentioned a lot in who this one now claims is AI, but I think they used AI to make a video, not that they're an actual AI creation. But Tanya put a clip about men and women in a proper marriage. And it said, haters tried to ruin me on this app by spreading lies that I'm a man. As you can see, I'm not a man. I'm just a woman who believes that submission is not oppression. Godly wives submit to their husband with honor because that's what the Bible commands. This is what the Bible commands us to do. Yes, they choose worldly men and claim he is abusive like Tinder gal does, right? Again, so maybe I should have saved that for the next episode. I don't know, but said Sydney Sweeney is a success because of her breasts. Well, yeah, not really much of a mystery there. See, thread about video clip, younger guys walk away from women now, etc. So the guy put as his caption, ladies, you are cooked. But that's not the guy from the actual clip. She said, so Tinder gal says, this is so weird because, like, what are you talking about? No comma. I know so many women who are not Instagram people. I am confused. Do you have friends? Like, do you talk to people in real life? She's not in the same demographic as what he was referring to. Some meme about, oh, I'd have to find it now. Dang it. Sorry, I'm clicking on things and scrolling and where is this stupid meme? They had a lot of, well, I just saw 4. Where's 5? Okay, for some reason it's not there. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay. I'm looking in the wrong spot. That's okay. Free entertainment, right? 12:5. Okay, here we go. It said is this the one? That's the one I read from before. So that's a different one. This is the one that said the data shows boys and young men are falling behind. I thought I already read that. Okay. I did that. I thought that was in the last episode. So maybe I'm looking at the wrong meme. Okay, never mind. So a little bit of waste of time, sorry. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You get the gist. So many women who are not Instagram people. That can't be the right meme. Where did it go? I don't know. Maybe I didn't save that one. After all. Because I'm hung up on how the verbiage might be important here, the verbiage, and not seeing it. But it doesn't matter. So yeah, like I said, they're a younger demographic than her for starters. So yes, most of the young women are running around now trying to be Instagram famous or whatever, as far as I can tell. Maybe not most, but in urban areas. And again, blah, blah, blah. It looks like we already know she does not talk to real men in her life much either. Because again, what you find in West Hollywood is, actors who bat for the other team and that sort of thing. But she is still trying to be an Insta model and mostly failing compared to them, I guess. Or her community theater stuff or whatever. We know friend zone women are also a waste of time. Talking about talking to people in real life. Yeah, how often do you ever get a woman out of the friend zone once you're in the friend zone? I'm leaning toward the 95% negative at least rate. Okay. And women, as we know, give each other horrible advice. So getting advice from women about dating women may not actually be the strategy you want to employ. Just FYI, heads up. This is someone who works for a dating app and they are clueless about how to meet men. And apparently their friends are clueless about how to meet men. So more gaslighting, but the people she talks to in real life, crappy lunatic libtards and druggies and whoever, alcoholics. She complains about every man she dates. So she obviously has terrible taste in men, as we've covered, since the first episode on through. But apparently, according to her now arguing with this meme, knows an abundance of singles under 30 that can't find dates. There must be something really defective with these women if they can't find dates. So she's leaving out their actual ages, probably more like 40, and their weight or other attractive issues or personality defects. Again, they might all be man-hating feminates. Might be hard to find men if you chase away men with your rhetoric or your attitude or your masculine behavior. So if you're such a dating advice expert, why can't you play matchmaker for all in your orbit and solve all their problems? Oh, wait, because you can't even solve your own problems. You just blame men for gambling addiction or whatever the previous video. So still single, but annoyed that smart men are saying no. Right. Then there was one about a slutty meme. Somebody else was funnier than her. Yeah, there was a couple different things that were like that where it was trying to be funny. Let's see. Oh, in the previous episode, I think I meant to mention nurses with PTSD versus the data science argument blip in history. Yeah, women who have traditionally had jobs of this type are not the norm or whatever. So we'll get back to that. Okay. Old personal post. Why does Bumble have the least attractive men of all the dating apps? Then Louis comes in and says, as a bald man who got married off of Bumble, I suppose you're not wrong. Might I suggest it's the good personality guys? And then she gives 2 laugh emojis response. Then Edwin says, hey, I'm on Bumble. Ha ha. She, oh, emojis back. And then says, in general, LOL. Then Brooklyn says, because Bumble dudes are not catfishes, they're showing their real pictures. And another gal thumbs up that. Joey says, have you tried other dating apps like Tinder, Match, Facebook, Dating, Plenty of Fish, etc.? If so, how would you rank them? And Tinder Gal says, I tried Tinder a million years ago, obviously back since. I'm not sure if it's changed. She might have been in a steady relationship during this brief period because, again, I don't have the actual timeline perfectly down. I'm not sure if it's changed. No, it's gotten worse. We know this. And you work for an unethical company, which is the whole reason we're making these videos. Match was a mix. Obviously, all these were horrible or you'd be married already. Facebook dating is okay. Plenty of Fish was just an annoying website. But Bumble has exceptionally and noticeable less attractive men than Hinge and League. And then she says the one she's mostly on, which probably is no longer accurate, which is not Tinder, which, again, you work for I'm pretty sure it's Tinder, one of the Match.com apps, and don't even use them the most because they're not even the best for your purposes. Great. And again, she claims she wants a marriage, but not a traditional marriage, whatever that means. We haven't figured that out yet. But again, yeah, where is how's that been working out? And was this other app where you met the guy who made you want to kill yourself? I don't know. Okay, so we're going. Seth did not read in part 6 for 7 now, so maybe I skipped some of this in part 7 also. I don't remember. Read in part. Oh, this is the stuff that I read in part 5 that I was going to read again in part 6, but then didn't. Okay, so I'm still not going to read this again. Right, because that will make this video even longer than it will end up already being. This is all the stuff about men and women and divorces and splitting of assets and stuff. So we don't know if she's ever dated a smoker. We don't know if she's ever tried a cigarette. Sorry, this is tying back to that bit earlier. Lives in hypothetical situations mostly. Right. Yes. Okay. Simon says, I know many divorced men. I just realized yesterday that I don't know any men that initiated the divorce. I may have not read this in the previous one. And then she says, yeah, but men do go out for a cigarette and never come back, which means the women has to initiate. Right? Again, that's not her situation, so she's just pulling stuff out of a hat now. And then later we'll complain that other people generalized. So that's the joke, right? I'm giving away the punchline now in case you don't keep watching for another 30 minutes. And then she puts, but also maybe don't suck as a person, you hateful twat. Now, later she's going to tell us how she's never disrespectful to anyone. She's a sweet, honest Christian. So calling people a hateful twat is within the realm of that. Doing unto others or whatever. But apparently these men enjoy cigarettes more than they enjoy her company. So maybe she's the hateful twat. I don't know. We'd have to spend more time with this insufferable person to know how annoying they really are in real life. Women ghosting men way more often now, I'd say, than even more men these days. But they complain about the men who ghost them because they're positive that that guy's in love with them after he takes them to bed in the first 3 hours of knowing them. After they meet them on the Tinder app, he's got to be the one. He's on a hookup site. Right. Okay. False equivalence as usual, but I guess more likely a realistic statistic scenario than her bogus all men are serial killers, fake numbers, right? Because Alex Grace reacts video from the same morning about this, which was, again, maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know if her husband smoked cigarettes or only dope like her, but he never would leave. She had to throw him out. Claimed she had to work 3 jobs while he played video games, and her million complaints that she keeps bringing this up constantly, even though she claimed over a year ago that she was tired of talking about it, but never stops talking about it. He was supposedly sick of sleeping with her. No bedroom play for months. La La Land. Maybe plenty smart ones have dumped her since for her behavior, etc. Don't know that, like I said, all the ins and outs. But her mindset is heavily skewed back to this brief marriage that comes up constantly as her reference point for most of these things. But so then Josh comes in to be funny. Nobody smokes anymore. How are we supposed to run out on women now? Vapes? She doesn't reply to that because he's being funny. Others would, I don't know, start her on smoking or something. I don't know. Don't know if she's vapes either. Inquiring minds. She doesn't reply like that. Okay. What does this say? Asking, this is relate. Oh, this was related. That was recommended by the site, not part of the argument. But I skipped this in the previous. So Jad says, asking men when it's divorce time. Is there some written rule that the man is not supposed to go for what he is entitled to, basically leave with nothing, or does this taking from a female narrative hold any weight in 2026? And I really should probably save this one for the next video too, but here we go. Sean says, I see three main behaviors here. One, I want to end the relationship as fast as possible, and giving up more money makes her sign faster. The Gino and Jasmine thing, right? I don't know. Two, she was with me for X years. I provided for her. I want her to be comfortable in her later years, right? The more amicable divorce. Three, she has my kids. The kids are going to stay with her. I'd like to her to have a home where the kids have their space. And that was a big, component of the discussion in the previous episode, was that the wife gets the home. That's why more of them have the home. But in the article, it was whether or not the women were buying the home, yada, yada. So, okay. More stuff about finances and religion that I skipped in part 5, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And they were talking about trad wives and all that. Yeah, okay. So this is definitely where we're going to save this. And that I know I read before. Okay. Okay, so going way out of order here. Sorry, I have to scroll back to where I was to try and find my beginning, when the beginning was in the middle. Okay, so the next meme was, it was Sofia Vergara. Is that how you say it? Vergara had put a quote, I want somebody that has as much money as me or more, because if not, it's a nightmare. They end up resenting you. Okay, now somebody with more money than her would be somebody with millions of dollars. Okay, so she's saying she's never going to date you if you're poor. Stop sending her fan mail, basically. Yeah, and she's, I don't know, she's what, 50 and famous, so you're not going to meet her anyway. So yeah, it's literally like 50-year-old millionaire problems. It doesn't really apply to most of the world. But of course, Tinder gal wants to make it super personal because she loves going out of her way to find arguments to try and make herself look smart or valid or valuable or something to single men who don't want a woman like her because they don't. Again, we just covered a whole bunch of that. Okay. So yeah, well, my advice to Sofia Vergara again is good luck with that, because most men make shit money now compared to a lot of these college educated women. So you're going to have a tough time and finding a husband then, I guess. And that's not my problem. You're somewhat out of touch with reality. You have a fake body, and in my opinion, subjective looks, not for me. I find other women more attractive than her, but if you're horny and you like the way she looks, then, whatever. A little less plastic surgery for me. Thanks. So yeah, these men, they resent being used like an ATM by a gal who has more money than they do, but expects some lavish lifestyle treatment. We keep coming back to this. It's not because they have, a different job or some such, with the wage gap and all that. So here we have a narcissist whom thinks she's the biggest star versus a narcissist who's not a star at all. Again, we have movie star, and which I don't even know any of her movies. She was in the TV show with Al Bundy, I think. And then we have, community theater that doesn't make any money doing this, has a good day job that augments their hobby that they've turned into a side hustle. So they're, what do you call it? Getting less enjoyment out of it than they should because they've turned it into a second job kind of thing. I talked about this, I think, in the last episode. So making excuses while can't date, these horrible low earning men or whatever, when they've already rejected all these men, or they've been in relationships briefly with them, and insist that none of the men are good enough. Well, be alone then. We're not stopping you. A billionaire would rather have you. Doesn't seem like it. He can buy a younger, prettier one. We've talked about this many times. Rationalize away. Okay. So the quote that the guy put with the meme that he posted, Robert, who's a younger guy, maybe in his 30s, says, "You mean like women do? Like women were taught to think like men? No, women are the ones who resent you or cheat on you if you're not on their level financially in a marriage. A man is more than happy to make more than you. Of course, there are high status men who do indeed cheat or go or outside pieces. And since women get more options, who are much more likely to do that want to put any superior position?" Question. Okay, so I get the gist of what he's trying to say, but he's not super articulate, but he's make of that what you will. I'm not going to try and explain it. But so Tinder gal argues with him, "You missed this completely. Because of gender roles, many women prefer that a man makes more, or the wage gap means that they make less automatically and they don't have a choice. I am a high earning woman," again, not in Sofia Vergara status terms, but enough to drive around Los Angeles while everybody else can't afford gas. "I am a high earning woman and used to be open to dating men who made less than me," which any guy with a career might still make a little bit less than her. And that's an issue. Okay. Because again, she wants to use them as an ATM, period, and blame it on them, as far as I can tell. But then it turns out the men get very bitter about it. Their egos can't take it, and they become mean. No, you pick crap men. You're the loser, actually. You can feel free to spend your dough on me, and I'd be just fine with it. Women... Then she says, "Women can handle the humility of earning less, but men lose their minds." Okay, and her giant sample size of 37 or whatever, which again is high compared to most women who date 2 or 3 men and get married and stay with them for most of their life. At least traditionally, which she again claims is bad. So why are you trying to get married in the first place? So yes, again, where's your hunky billionaire, spinster fool? "Women can earn less if they can find a man stupid enough to waste his dough on her. You're alone still, and he can get a younger, prettier one. Oh, I'm sorry. You're alone and not getting younger and prettier every day." So Robert says, "I understand what you're saying, but was there behavior on the woman's side that made him feel that way?" Right. She's not going to take that accountability at all. Again, she might be annoying and passive aggressive and other things that don't exist. It's only financial with her. We've talked about this back in episode 2 or 3 where it was all transactional. Again, this goes back to the, I wonder if she's cheating or if she has a certain attitude towards me or is controlling in certain areas. Like how it goes from, "Babe, can you cut your hair / dress differently," quote unquote, to her displaying aggressive, baggy behavior, overtly loud, revealing her underlying dislike and lack of respect for him that developed. And now it's cheating when facing temptation outside. Again, he keeps going back to this whole cheating thing, which, again, most healthy men aren't interested in doing that, even if they are having a difficult time in their relationship. So I'm not going to unpack that. So she comes back and says, nope, men are just that fragile. Right. Okay. Maybe just the men you date again. You're a liar, you're sheltered, you act like a transactional 304 in a lot of these circumstances, apparently. Versus men whom endure things you could never possibly imagine in your toxic construct. The most dangerous jobs in the world. Other people will address this in a minute and she'll ignore them. So I don't want to say it all now and then re-say it all. How did your husband resent? He didn't want to, again, sex with you, but still didn't want to leave your dough. So he made less than you because according to you, you had all the jobs and he had no jobs and he didn't leave. But you keep insisting that they're fragile and resent you or something. I don't know. Again, don't know the whole story, but seems like there's a disconnect in there somewhere. And this was before she was rich, but claims that she's not rich now or not rich enough but richer than all these loser guys. Again, in the previous episode, we discovered that she considers 80% of men losers, and most of that was based on financial status or success or whatever. So fancy words is a cover-up. You could survive a war and she would not care, just if only you can be her ATM. Again, we keep coming back to this because it's in her own argument. So yeah, you're better off not dating any of these crap feminists, and they can resent you and gaslight and project all over you. Again, in plain English, every time is their only arguments. We'll get into that. In return, she offers nearly zero quality time. Again, she's a workaholic and turned her hobby into a side hustle to add more work to her week, and holds back her, affections that, but has meanwhile still been with plenty of other men already, 37, maybe less, and might go off with even some other gal, just in case you were worried about her cheating on you with a man. But she's also bipolar and might hurt herself if you criticize her loon BS too much, but claims you are the fragile one. Right. Can't take many posts when they gang up on her as evidence, and we had it was more political arguments where this was happening. And I'm not, again, going into those. Privileged keyboard warrior, safe to talk crap, just like Alex Grace says, but would scream for the cops if the shoe on the other foot, like Tyrus and others point out about these Mangione fan psychos, etc., etc. Okay. So then Robert comes back and says, fragile because they don't want to get cheated on, or have a woman speak with them with such a lack of respect. They're not biologically made to have more than the man overtime or forever. I'm not sure what that exactly means, but okay. So then she says, you are making some big assumptions that the woman will cheat or be disrespectful. Well, apparently many have with him or something. How about this? A perfectly sweet, nice, and successful woman dates a man who makes less than her, grows bitter, and cheats on her. That's what I've seen happen time and time again. Stop automatically siding with men. Sound like you hate women. I didn't get that at all. And can't accept criticism. So again, more gaslighting and projection. And calling 80% of men's losers is disrespectful, by the way. I can speak on this because I am a successful, kind woman who has never, ever cheated or been disrespectful. Again, her version of disrespectful and mine might be two different things. Whether or not she's ever cheated, again, we have to take it at face value. We don't know if she's lying. But she is a liar in plenty of other spots that we found. So it's very, 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 very 80% likely that she is lying and has cheated, by the way, and just doesn't want to cop to it or refuse to get with somebody that would have been good for her because she was also dating somebody else at the same time who was bad for her that she selected over the other guy, even if she wasn't technically cheating on him, and then blames everybody else for that toxic guy that we know she's dated at least 10 times. 10 different guys at least, right? So back, and once again, back to her small sample size of her anecdotal, her personal life and her loser friends who, again, all hate men and then claim they don't, while claiming that these men are the ones who hate women. When Alex Grace just did the video last week about how it's, or the week before, about how we see for a fact statistically that the men do not hate women. The men hate this feminist crap. Okay. So yes, and a woman who uses phrases like, I don't want to say all of them, but incel, chode, punch, a fascist, when referring to people who aren't even fascists. Some other, there was a keyword. I'm not going to say it. Yeah, so she uses disrespectful phrase. And earlier we already read one where she told the guy that she called the guy a name and all that, and insists that she never does that. But 2 weeks before, she had already done that or whatever. And then there was the episode where she threw the dinner in the trash because the guy was so bad for working at the dinner table. Like, she's a workaholic, but he's not allowed to be a workaholic. So how is he supposed to be successful in his business like you are if he doesn't spend the time at his job like you do? Double standard again. And she's overpaid more likely as all anyway for what she actually does. So I assume any day now they'll find a younger, cheaper one to phase out all these. Apparently Meta or Facebook was about to delete a bunch of employees overnight. So it wouldn't surprise me if these dating apps are going to be forced to do the same soon. But the feminists insist that the wage gap is still the patriarchy, and they're all oppressed, even though they now make more than the men that they can't date. So won't you get kicked out of the club now for being a bad feminist by making more money than you're supposed to claim that you're oppressed? Successful with ill-gotten gains, like I said, unethical business makes you an unethical person and a fake Christian for sure, but at least claims to be faithful, which still does not really help diminish your previous body count. So, yeah. Talk about can't accept criticism much. We'll get back into that real soon. Other hypocrisy, like using drugs, don't know what all drugs they've used, etc. Robert comes back. No, he only cheats if he's a bad boy. She found attractive like Niz, who are the bad boys of the black community. Wealthy or educated black women swoon to, he should really use better punctuation, but swoon to, given how arousal works. Same thing with women in general. When options are exhausted, they date down, and over time they get resentful and cheat and stay in that relationship, but have much more energy. Not all women, but definitely enough to hear about it over and over. So again, the Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. Different anecdotal set of data, right? So then she comes back again with, more hypocrisy here, basically. You need to grow up and stop listening to podcasts and uneducated, immature people. We've proven time and time again how she's actually immature and blah, blah. Everything you said is small-minded. Yeah, so his small anecdotal evidence annoys you, but yours shouldn't annoy him. Funny. Okay. Evidence. Missing a word there, sorry. So yeah, listing your Loontard podcast. She wants you to listen to her crap podcast nonsense instead of yours preferred stuff, if that's where he's getting his information from, is her big argument. When, again, all of that stuff is easily debunked if you listen to somebody who actually tells you, like Alex Grace, why they're wrong in fine detail, point for point. So women who make each other miserable now because they all clueless and self-serving. I said this already, but yeah, so lonely spinster, but most likely has sexed with several men lately. So lords that over the incels as well, even though none of those guys want to marry her that she hooks up with. They must make less than her still too, I guess, because she's rejecting them, right? And okay, no children, no family. Where's your husband? Call him. So she's basically calling him dumb and claims that that's not disrespectful. And this will come up again with the next comments. Telling him he's immature. Telling him he's an immature boy is not much racist. I don't know. Most of the people in schools now are uneducated by lame leftist institutions. So getting this education doesn't actually have anything to do with being smart. It actually is mostly just misinformation. Again, we'll go back to Alex Grace and how many of these people are graduating illiterate and da-da-da-da-da-da. But she's insufferable and always has to have the last word. So let's keep going. Robert comes back. But where did you get your opinion? Fantasy novels? TV shows? Nothing wrong with that if it's philosophical and helpful. Women swarm and watch podcasts too. Have you seen Call Her Daddy? LOL. Women seem to love that podcast. I don't support some of the stuff spoken about, but the honesty is a bit compelling. You get in the average woman's mind. Yeah, the average woman's mind that, again, has been totally polluted by all this toxic Marxist ideology and whatnot. So then she comes back and admits once again that it's all anecdotal. Lived life from myself and the people I know, dude. No comma before dude. So then he comes back and says, I guess he's trying to get a date. I don't know. And that's perfectly fine. Beautiful. No, it's not, but let's keep going. Dude. But there are things happening at large, and I don't want to take away from your experience and acknowledge your experience. Again, her experience is not the experience she's claiming about in the other. She's having multiple different experiences, but then focusing on the one that she likes the most, which then later she insists that cherry picking is bad. Okay. So now off on other topics or tangents related to this topic, but here we're going to get into some good stuff, even though she doesn't comment on most of it until at the later. Ivan says, get her, meaning I guess Robert arguing with her is entertaining to him or something. Oh no, I'm sorry. He didn't say get her. I'm sorry. He's going after her. Okay. This is, okay, somebody who got blocked. He's a type in all caps guy coming after her. That's what you want to think, you vile, villainous, venomous, vagina shite. Not so fast, beach. You get your effing karma soon enough and you'll be sorry, beach. Okay. Yeah, she didn't reply to that, obviously. Shoegazing says, calm down. And he gets reamed out. Yeah, we're not going to, okay. That's just not, okay. Nonsense. Skipping that. Okay, so then Toxic replies to Robert. This seems to be a toxic, or sorry, not toxic. They're called Toxic, but it seems to be a cartoon with 0 followers. So I guess this is a woman, once again, giving advice to keep each other single and miserable. And more projection, but Robert likely moved on already and never read any of this anyway. Okay, the funny thing about this is you're looking to blame the woman for this behavior. No matter what someone else does, you are still responsible for your behavior. No argument with this, right? A lot of you get out of pocket just knowing she makes more. She doesn't have to say or do shite. Okay, I don't know what that means. Laugh emoji. She can literally just exude confidence and it makes him feel small. Oh, the men are supposedly so scared of these women. Okay, now maybe some of them are. Again, if you meet simpy guys because you don't want masculine men, then I guess this is the behavior you're going to encounter. Someone can congratulate her on an achievement, then he feels salty. Well, you can't compliment women anymore anyway. then you're a sexist or whatever. It's harassment because you said nice things. You're more than likely one of them based on this rhetoric. Oh, you're more. Oh, so she's accusing Robert of being a fragile simp, I guess. Okay, so then Robert comes back and he does for behavior cheating. You said it yourself. It's your behavior. Okay, so if she don't got to do anything because she has money, what is she doing in a relationship? Yeah, again, dating for validation or dating for free dinners, right? Same as we figured out about Tinder gal and her transactional opinions on finance several videos ago. So then Lil Lee says to, now this is him coming after Tinder gal specifically, I think. No, coming after Robert, I think. But it was on her thread, so I'm not positive. Anyway, sounds like very personal answers, red flag, while others are trying more general approaches. It just shows you can't discuss topics like this without it ending up blaming women, because that can be, because the default programming. Okay, so he is attacking Robert. And Robert says, how so? They run the entire day market. The average man is invisible, and yet somehow society blames men for the shortcomings of not producing families, not having major success, or of women finding love. Yeah, exactly. So then Come On says, no, women can't make you feel anything. Take some responsibility, JFC. And Robert says, by that same reasoning, a man can't make a woman feeling anything, feeling again. He put the wrong word. He meant anything and he put again, but he meant either, actually. By that same reasoning, a man can't make a woman feel anything either. Right. Correct. Even though, yeah, they're blaming the men for whatever. And the whatever Toxic said. I have no idea what that meant. Okay, so anyway, so on a separate time now. So then, again, replying to, I think, Robert, Apex says, how did Sophia get her millions? Was it her God-given looks, or she created something to fix a problem in the world to become a millionaire? Well, yeah, I want her job, just like OnlyFans too, right? So then Camilla says, it doesn't matter how she made her millions. The fact is she has it. Well, okay, fine. But the fact is she's still single and apparently can't figure out how to fix that if she wants to, or is insisting that she doesn't want to because she wants to just spend her money on herself while also spending a man's money on herself. Again, why you don't date bimbos. The plastic surgery is a dead giveaway that there might not be as much upstairs as you want if you're looking for a healthy relationship. Take that, Gino. It doesn't matter how she made her millions. The fact is she has it. Your response is a prime example of why successful women shouldn't date guys financially beneath them. Yeah, again, go be single. We're not stopping you. And you're not one of them. So what do you care? You're just some loser on the, the website. Y'all have a weird obsession with wanting to humble women because of your shortcomings. No more gaslighting there. Belittling a woman's success to make yourself feel better is pathetically lame. Again, haven't seen any of that in this conversation yet. So Apex comes back. Jesus, who hurt you? LOL. But FYI, men don't really care about women's money. He. True, because those billionaires want to date waitresses because they don't worry about it. They know they can afford her and they just take her off to Tahiti and you stay home because you're fat. Sorry. And old, probably. Or over 30. So Camilla comes back. Nobody hurt me and you're lying. No. Well, maybe nobody hurt you. Don't know. But obviously somebody must have, or you wouldn't be coming in with this men are fragile argument when you're probably also single. Same as Tinder gal. Y'all definitely care when a woman has more than you. You can't lie about reality. Again, that was not what the thread was about at all. Nobody was claiming that Sophia was doing something wrong. They're just admitting that she got her money because she has fake plastic surgery attributes and stuff. Nobody's accusing her of being a genius. That's not what this is about. Apex says, believe me, we don't care. You never heard women saying his money. Oh, you never heard the woman saying his money is my money is my money. And yeah, a man nolly would take the burden of taking care of a woman emotionally, mentally, and financially. Yeah, exactly. Like anybody who gets involved with Tinder gal and knows they have a bipolar loon on their hands would have to take care of a lot of emotional and mental trauma in addition to just the bedroom fun, which she's getting a little old to be probably too appealing about that as well. Also, men would take a gift that works at McDonald's. A girl that works at McDonald's. A woman would never even look his way, LMAO. We're just different, sweetie. Another one who I wish would use punctuation correctly. There should be a comma after different. I'm trying, people. So then Robert, out of nowhere, comes back in. It's not about humbling women. It's not about humbling women. There should be a period there. We know when your biology responds to, why are any hot chicks pushing against her points? Aren't, I believe is what he meant. Why are no hot chicks pushing against her points? This isn't a job. All women are attractive. Yeah, okay. So just before the other guy commented at Tinder gal's point, I think this came in out of a sequence. Why aren't, Camilla, I think he's talking about Camilla, but then he pushes against the Sophia points. I don't know. Personally, I have to say that all women are not attractive for many reasons. That's all subjective again. But he's trying to be, the player and compliment all the gross women so they can't get mad at him for calling them fat or weird or whatever. He's more diplomatic than I'm going to be right here. And we're at 57 minutes already, so it's already, super long. Tinder gal says, there are also many examples of wealthy women who have proper careers who have started companies. Okay, so again, we're going to go off into La La Land hypothetical situation here. Somewhat. When you pick the one example that supports your worldview, that's called cherry picking, and it's not a real argument for anything at all. Go do some research on women CEOs and engineers. Okay, so instead of me expecting these guys to do any heavy lifting, right, he picked her meme. I don't know who made that meme, but duh. Again, Apex will come back and reinforce me on this. Using her quote that you insist you agree with is now you called cherry picking. Let's go back to the quote now, just to refresh. Damn it. If I can click on the right. I want somebody that has as much money as me or more, because if not, it's a nightmare. They end up resenting you, okay? So that's her actual words that you are now calling cherry picking. So yeah, then you agree it's wrong and most women are the opposite of this then as a default philosophy? Is that what I should glean from your argument now? So the men overall, therefore, are not fragile, but you just ignore that the other guy's comment completely and entirely now because it's inconvenient what he said. So here again, I think we have a stoned idiot trying to sound smart again when your actual argument that proves him wrong is what? Again, only anecdotal evidence from your limited history, because your vast array of women friends who we assume are well over 30 are all still single. Okay. Because the men just don't make enough money to take them all to Disneyland. Okay. I thought CEOs were the devil for targets in your Mangione worship, but we're not going to go into that. Oh, and are they all single because they can't marry a man with less money like her or you? All the women CEOs, that is. Or is the narcissist issue more likely the case? My guess is that these CEOs are not all married to billionaires too, because there just aren't that many billionaires for them to all be married to. I think if Bill Gates' wife was a billionaire, it's because she married him, not the other way around. Now she has money. Again, the Johnny Carson wife divorce that Eddie Murphy covered way back when, that Gen X all do. I want half. You black. Fill in the whole bit, right? Johnny Carson, here we have your $30 million and my $70, right? I don't want to do the whole routine because that would be infringement or something. Where is your hunky husband then? You cherry pick lots as well, I'm sure. Like your sample size of 30 guys who you slept with. Nobody said there weren't wealthy women. Again, we all accept that Sofia Vergara exists and there's women out there who have money too. But many of them have a family, unlike you and her. I'll wager. So your argument, I don't know. So Apex comes back and reminds me of a thing that I forgot to mention or had mentioned earlier, but not until after I read this. What the F are you talking about, cherry picking? We were literally, I'm inserting the word, literally talking about Sofia in capital letters. Stay on target. Oh, sorry, topic, shaking my head. Why do I even bother? I wish this guy would use question marks. And go check the percentage of women CEO or engineer, and now who's cherry picking? Yeah, exactly. It's not the majority of women. Maybe we should also look at the most dangerous jobs and see the 3 women in these that also need to be included. LMAO. Yeah, woodcutters and loggers and the deadliest catch. Not a lot of feminists in these professions for sure. Still way more rich men in the world, but again, they don't want to marry you, so maybe you're the bitter one. So then Tinder Gal comes back. That's still cherry picking. Go look up all the women who are CEOs and got there off of hard work instead of choosing one famous woman who got there from her looks. Again, the meme exists, so I don't know where it came from. And again, no, those women are probably married already and not spouting off about how men need to be their ATM like you and her. Sofia, who wants men to be her ATM. Then she comes in again with her resume as always. P.S. I'm a scientist myself as my day job. So STFU, again, classy to the last. Again, you're not a millionaire, so who cares? And you suck at that math stuff, as we see always at the time in these episodes where she was arguing about statistics with the other guy in the apps. You have some money, but not millions like her, but still can't find a decent man. One waits time on your silly butt. Then why should he shut up when you are the one most likely missing the point with your sexist anti-man rant, which again is contradictory anyway, because you said you agreed with her and now you're saying why single her out? Well, because she's using the same words you agree with, so whatever. Sofia Vergara still does not have any science job either that you claim makes her different from you, but somehow all the men still are the same and all fragile. All our poor egos can't handle dating you. I think it's a different reason we can't handle dating you. What exactly is the argument here? Trying to prove you're not the fragile one is just proving that you're insufferable too. Masculine energy in 2 different directions, etc. And gross, crude language again with the STFU. Trash that passes for class in this garbage modern society. Again, stuff I wanted to talk about more in the Alex Grace video. So we'll get... This episode's already over an hour, so we're not getting there yet. We're almost to the end of this one. Apex comes back. Again, stay on effing topic. We are not talking about you, SMH, but she's always talking about herself because she's a narcissist. That's what I keep saying. Duh. She can't not talk about herself. She can only relate everything to herself, which is why it all becomes anecdotal evidence in 10 seconds or less. So now this comes out of sequence, though, because there was a bunch of comments that went back and forth, and this should have been before that, and that should have been before. You'll see. So then he's something about it's not that many, meaning women, wealthy women. And if you look, some companies failed after a female CEO stepped in. So again, the topic was about Sofia. There's a effing picture on the post. I don't know why you keep moving the argument. Again, because she's a stupid communist narcissist. She's pretty much always wrong about everything, every time. Really bad at argumentation and debate, but always has to have the last word. And again, the bit about the failed female CEO may still be married, unlike her, because not all of these women are spinsters and shrews, I assume. Although many of them increasingly will be with time, because more and more men are walking away from them, going to have those cigarettes and vapes. So then another reply out of sequence. She comments on his SMH before, not this last bit, but proves my point again for sure. Tinder gal says, "You're generalizing about women, and I am a woman who contradicts the BS," which again makes you an exception, not the rule. "You're trying to say about women, you're too dumb to talk to. Jesus," again with the disrespect. "Please go back to school and study. I'm out of here." Again, what are you studying in school? They're not going to tell you this in school. You have feminine teachers like you in school. I went to school, and I argued with them constantly, and that was like 3 decades ago or something already, because I knew they were pushing garbage philosophy. "Your whole argument, by the way, was about generalization about women and men. Men being fragile, women being, not as fragile or whatever. He does not back down from you and your BS, and you can't handle the opposition. So that's you being the fragile one again. See how dumb I am? Fat chance. I did the school already, like I said. And I also at the time learned about them probabilities and such in the math classes that I did actually very well at, that you get wrong in other arguments." That's again which video, that thread, I don't recall, episode 5 or 6. Stats class and all that stuff. Men have those jobs too. In fact, more often than men. Just because there's a few women who work for NASA before I was born doesn't mean that most of the people who work for NASA haven't had male junk, okay? As well as a functional brain. She calls his original point bull crap without ever BS, without ever stating why in any concise manner. Still waiting. Hold your breath. And a personal attack on his intelligence, ad hominem, but generalization. Most women aren't, again, CEOs or even famous actresses still either. So, again, exceptions to the rule. So then on a totally different threat from earlier before that, I'm still going to get through this. This is where it actually gets to the parts that I wanted to read earlier, but I did them out of sequence. So we're going to keep going, folks. Toxic. I get toxic on a different, referring to Robert instead of her again, I think. "Indeed they are. They will." Oh no, this is her commenting on the fragile comment. Okay, so now we're actually on the subject. Okay, or Tinder gal's subject. "Indeed they are. They will never admit it about themselves, but they can't gaslight a woman on this subject because we date men." Laugh emoji. So I don't know if this is a woman or a queer who dates the men, but again, I assume it's a woman and another feminine loser who doesn't have a husband, because you're saying you're dating men, which means you're not married to a man, which means you don't know how to pick a good man to marry. And again, it's cartoon photo and 0 followers. But they continue. "Unless they are dating men, they're only going based on themselves." Again, I don't know what that exactly means. But her proclamation and not theirs, like others, says she wants to date younger men or whatever, the cougar thing, but still says date. So again, too old to still. I'm assuming this cartoon is over 30 and therefore still too old to be unmarried, same as Tinder gal. Although whether or not they're a slurry 304, we don't know. There was something about, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of this gets out of sequence, and I try to keep track of it. The other thread from same post, less relevant comment that she ignored. Okay. Older white dude. Yeah. Husband made 0 dough, but what about the rest? Okay, that's just. Okay, so Al says, "That may have been your experience, but then how can any woman possibly complain about a dearth of men?" Yeah, you live in Southern California and you're saying there's no good men to date. "Our society and gender roles inside it is changing at warp speed. That doesn't really mean anything. It's not just men who have to adjust to the new realities. No, again, if the dating apps actually worked, bringing it back to the theme of these actual videos, there should be almost no single men left and just undateable loon women still single. So if the dating apps actually worked, the guys who want to get married would have already found partners pretty much almost to a man in the last 25 years since they became a thing-ish. Because there's more women than men, period. So then Shu from before, he said it's called hypergamy. It beats the point to get married if a man makes less than a woman. In the same vein, if a man makes a lot more, he will also exercise options to which women don't seem to have a particular clarity about. So then John says, one, sorry for you, but you dated kids, not men. Oh, that's what I was talking about with the kids. Yeah, he's saying she dated immature men in her lengthy 15-year plus history of getting used by chads and thrown away by ego-fragile men. Right. Yeah, but don't discount that she might also be a crappy woman to boot. 2, Sofia Vergara earns a lot, millions, I believe. Only a really small percentage of men on the planet can earn more than her, so she is delusional. In all this, don't speak for an entire gender just based on your experiences. We're billions on this planet. Shitty men and shitty women exist like good men and good women exist too. One would hope. So then this guy came in with his vile, villainous, venomous thing again. Yeah, okay, we're going to skip that. Photon says, what you said, it a joke and it's a bad joke, LOL. And then he put terrible in the edit. Okay, then we got to, okay, so that's finally the end of that. Long thread, I know, sorry. 112. There is still more below. I read all this stuff. Let me scroll ahead so I don't lose my place. Dated a smoker. Yeah, okay, we'll just save that. I don't. I read that. Okay, I tried Tinder years ago. Yeah, okay. So we got to page 16 of 22, and some of this I had read before. And so some of it, even if it's good, let's skim down. Page. Oh, that was Tanya about the conservative men and all that. I read that, I thought. I know I read this. I read this. Okay. I just read this earlier in the video, yes. The bit about the divorced men walking out and not coming back, and the women initiate the more divorces and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of a circular argument, but we don't need to get into that. Okay. So we got through most of this document, people, as far as I can tell, and we do still have to save some for next time, but again, I don't want it. Yeah. Even though it's fresh in my mind and totally what I would rather have gone into, it's the stuff we are skipping for now. The Alex Grace video and the dating culture in the 50s and all that, which again, I might not do as episode 9. It might end up being some other type of video. And I wanted to go back and read some of the stuff from document 1 that I may have skipped. But again, we're just not going to do that now. This is over an hour. So as always, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. If you made it this far, you're a trooper. I doubt that anybody will. But hey, you know, here's hoping. And of course, boycott Tinder. That's the message. And not just Tinder, though. These dating apps are not out for your best interests. If you're interested in a real romantic relationship or a marriage, they're just cashing your check and laughing all the way to the bank. And their employees aren't even married and don't even really like men. They insist that they want a healthy relationship, but clearly aren't healthy people. So we'll see.